today's session, I'm going to give you a small introduction about the reproductive system. So, today's session is reproductive system. Have you ever wondered how you came to be? What is the biological aspects of you being here in this existence? Because the female has a reproductive system and the male has a reproductive system, and during the intercourse some biological process happen that leads to pregnancy, and after that development. Okay, so it's chapter 34 section 1. So female and male reproductive organs fully develop during puberty. Let's start the female reproductive system, the female reproductive parts. Let me switch to the book for 1 minute. So, the reproductive system is
reproductive system. Body system that allows for sexual reproduction, includes testes, ovaries, uterus, and other male and female sex organs.
Good. So, this is the reproductive system, composed of many parts. These parts contribute to the sexual intercourse and reproduction. Now, of course, the ability to produce offspring in human being or most species starts when you hit sexual maturity, meaning puberty. So what is puberty?
Puberty. Stage of adolescence that is marked by the production of hormones involved in reproduction.
So puberty marks the time in your life when your hypothalamus and your pituitary glands release hormones such as follicle stimulating hormone FSH and luteinizing hormone LH. Such hormones begin the process of developing your sexual characteristics. So these hormones, when they start functioning in your body, and you start developing your sexual characteristics. Okay? Now, the main functions of the female reproductive system to produce ova, singular ovum.
Ovum, a mature egg cell.
So, ova means many eggs. Ovum, one egg, or egg cells, to provide place where fertilized egg can develop. So, the eggs, okay, will develop inside what? How? We're getting to that later. So, unlike males, females have all their reproductive organs located inside their bodies. So, females, their reproductive parts, reproductive organs located inside the body. Not like the males. We'll reach that later today. So, the female inside, male outside. So, the egg cell are produced in the ovaries.
Ovary, in biology, botany. In flowering plants, the lower part of a pistil that produces eggs and ovules.
So, this is in general biology, but in human biology, ovaries, these parts, organs that produces the eggs, which are paired organs located either side of the uterus. Uterus.
In female placental mammals, the hollow, muscular organ in which an embryo embeds itself and develops into a fetus.
So, let's see the figure here. So this is the ovary in the female. This is the female body, reproductive anatomy, okay? So This is the ovary. Two of them ovaries. Okay. This is where the eggs produced. Now, we have uterus. Again, let us hear it again.
Uterus. In female placental mammals, the hollow, muscular organ in which an embryo embeds itself and develops into a fetus.
So, the fetus will develop in the uterus. Where is this is the uterus. So, the fetus will develop here. Okay, this is the uterus. Good. Let's continue. And we have or womb in like regular saying, regular talk, it's womb. Biological talk, it's uterus. So when a female is born, she has about 2 million potential egg cells stored in her ovaries. Now, in the ovaries, FSH and LH stimulate the release of another important hormone, estrogen. What is estrogen?
Estrogen, a hormone that regulates the sexual development and reproductive function of females.
So, estrogen is the major female hormone. This hormone will regulate your sexual development, reproductive function of the females, even your feminine side. It's because of the high levels of estrogen. Now, if you see a male that is a feminine in some way, that means the estrogen level is high. And vice versa, we'll reach that later on. Now, first, it controls the development of female sexual characteristics. We mentioned this, including widening the pelvis. This is why the females by nature have wider pelvis than males. It's because the estrogen increase fat deposit and bone mass. Also, the bone mass and the fat deposit in the females higher than males because of estrogen, because females goes through pregnancy. Males do not go through pregnancy. We will reach that and explain that, elaborate more later on. Enlarging the breasts, obviously. Now, second, it's needed for egg cells to develop fully before they leave the ovaries. Also, estrogen help in develop the egg cells before leaving the ovaries. Third function, estrogen helps to prepare the uterus for pregnancy. Also, this is a very important functions. I need you to be very thorough in the estrogen functions. Helps to maintain pregnancy when it occurs. Now, when an egg cell matures, each month it's released from the ovary and enters the fallopian tube.
Fallopian tube, a tube through which eggs move from the ovary to the uterus.
So the fallopian tube, it's a tube through which eggs move from ovary to uterus. Now, this fallopian tube, about 10 centimeters, 3.9 inches long, that ends in the uterus. So, now, when an egg cell matures, each month released from the ovary through the fallopian tube to the uterus. Now, an egg takes several days to travel through this tube. During this time, it can be fertilized by sperm that enter the tube. So, this is the ovulation period. Okay? This is when they describe the female that you are ovulating. So, if you do sexual intercourse right now, there's a high chance that you'll get pregnant. Now, the fertilized egg will attach to the wall of the uterus, but an unfertilized egg will eventually be broken down and discarded. And this is what monthly period is. If you remember, I already explained that in previous lessons, but in parts. So in this chapter, we're going through details. Now, the uterus is about the size and shape of a pear. It's composed of 3 layers: a thin inner layer of epithelial cells, thick middle layer of muscle, and outer layer of connective tissue. So we have inner layer epithelial cells, middle muscle cells, outer layer connective tissue. Now, the lower end of the uterus is called the cervix. Now, let's finish here first. Which open into the vagina. Now, in a normal birth, a baby is pushed down the canal of the vagina to exit mother's body. The complex process of fertilization will be explained in upcoming sections. Now, so let's review the female reproductive organs. Now, here we have the fallopian tube. This is the fallopian tube. This is the ovary. So the eggs from the ovary will go through the fallopian tube into the uterus. Now, we have the fallopian tube, okay, the uterus, the ovary. This is a pubic bone, okay, this is the cervix, urethra, rectum, vagina. Now, during the intercourse, the penis will enter the vagina, okay? Now, through the vagina, the sperm will fertilize the egg. This will come later. Now, what the book mentioned here is that the lower end of the uterus is called cervix. So the cervix is here, the lower end of the uterus. This is the uterus. The lower end is the cervix. Okay, the baby will go through the cervix, as we will learn later. Now, a baby is pushed down the canal of the vagina to exit the mother's body. So through the cervix, vagina, exiting the body. The cervix, vagina, exiting the body. The baby will develop in the uterus. When it's ready, will be pushed through the cervix into the vagina, out of the body. So this is the female reproductive parts. We'll continue the male to the male reproductive parts. Now, the male reproductive system produces sperms. Like the female produce eggs, the males produce sperms. Now, male do not produce the sperms until puberty. Like the females do not produce, do not mature sexually until puberty. The male, the sexual maturation for male is the ability to produce sperms and some other characteristics. Now, what is testes?
Testis. Organ of the male reproductive system that produces sperm.
The testis that produce the sperm. Okay. Now, hundreds of tiny tubules where millions of sperm cells are produced. Now, in the testis, LH, this hormone, stimulates the release of testosterone. Testosterone.
Testosterone. Steroid hormone that is found in greater quantities in men than women and contributes to male sexual characteristics and development.
So, testosterone or testosterone you can find this hormone in the male and female, but in much higher levels in males, because it contributes to male sexual characteristics and development. Now, so is a steroid hormone that, along with FSH, stimulate the production of sperm cells. Testosterone also controls the development of male sexual characteristics. These include a voice deeper, like my voice, ha. Instead, like if you all you male, you guys, you know that at the age of 9, 10, 11, your voice like this, you have a sweet voice. Then suddenly, during 1 year, it's like this. It's because of testosterone. Now, deeper than a female, of course, more body hair than the female, of course, greater bone density, increase muscle mass. So the bone mass, higher bone mass for female, we have higher density. Now, scrotum.
Scrotum, the sac that contains the testes in most male mammals.
So scrotum is the sac that contains, okay, enclosed in like a pouch. This is the scrotum. Okay, this is the testis. This is the scrotum. Okay, now it's a sac, it's a pouch that contains the testis. Now, it hangs below the pelvis. This is the pelvis. Okay, pubic bone. So this is the pelvis, okay, hangs below the pelvis. Now, which keeps the testis 2 to 3 degrees cooler than the core body temperature. Of course, we'll get to that later. The lower temperature is important because sperm cannot develop if the temperature of the testis is too high. And this is one major problem for inability to produce healthy sperms. Okay, it's some males, they have this condition where the temperature of the testis is always high, like the normal body temperature. It should be between 32, 33, not higher than that. Higher than this, it will cause inactive sperm. Now, when the immature sperm leave the testis, they travel through the duct along to a long coiled tube known as epididymis.
Epididymis, the long coiled tube that is on the surface of a testis and in which sperm mature.
So this is the epididymis. This epididymis. Let's read it again.
Epididymis, the long coiled tube that is on the surface of a testis and in which sperm mature.
So the sperms will be produced from testis through the epididymis here, okay, and they will mature here. Now, the sperm will mature and remain until expelled or reabsorbed. So, during sexual stimulation, the sperm travel into another long duct called vas deferens.
Vas deferens, a duct through which sperm move from the epididymis to the ejaculatory duct at the base of the penis.
So, vas deferens, secondary sex glands secretes fluid into the vas deferens to nourish and protect the sperm. So, where is this vas deferens? It's here, the vas deferens. So from the testis to the epididymis to the vas deferens, into then later on to the penis, outside of the penis. Now, the prostate glands, where is the prostate glands? This is the prostate glands, okay, surround the urethra, produce fluid that helps sperm move more easily, okay. Now, the bulbourethral gland, where is the bulbourethral gland? This is the bulbourethral gland, and seminal vesicles secrete basic fluid that help to neutralize the acidity in the urethra, because normally the urethra is acid in environment. So these glands will eliminate the acidity so the sperm can move and do not die. Now, Together, before this, the fluid from all three glands, which glands? These glands are the prostatic gland, vas deferens, and the seminal vesicle, and also the bulbourethral gland, will form something called semen.
Semen, the fluid that contains sperm and various secretions produced by the male reproductive organs.
So the semen that the male produces is not only sperms and other nutrients and other secretions. Now, during sexual arousal, blood flows into the penis, making it rigid. Semen moves from the vas deferens, here, okay, into the urethra, which runs the length of the penis. When ejaculation occurs, a muscle closes off the bladder to prevent urine from mixing with semen, because the muscle of the penis will close the bladder. This is the bladder. This is the urinary bladder. So the muscle, when the ejaculation happens, this will closed. This will be closed. So only the semen can flow into the penis. Okay? Now, smooth muscle contractions then propel the semen along the urethra and eject it out of the penis. These are smooth muscle, and contraction will occur that propel the semen outside. Now, let's sum this up in a different way. So, the female reproductive system produces ova. There are two main functions of the female reproductive system. The ova, or egg cells, provide a place where the zygote develop. Okay, so this is the main function of the reproductive system in the female, producing of ova, okay, or egg cells, and provide a place for the zygote, which is the fertilized, the union of the sperm and the fertilized egg. Okay, we call it zygote. So we have a fallopian tube. This is the fallopian tube. This is the ovaries that produces the eggs. Okay, the eggs will be produced and move through the fallopian tube into the uterus. Then we have pubic bone, urinary bladder, urethra, vagina, rectum, cervix, uterus. So the uterus, the baby will develop inside the uterus. After the baby is fully developed and ready to come out, will be pushed through the cervix and vagina outside the mom's body. So estrogen has three main functions. We explained estrogen: develop female sexual characteristics, development of eggs, prepare uterus for pregnancy. Now, the male reproductive system produces sperms instead of eggs. There are two main functions of the male reproductive system: sperm production, sperm delivery to the female reproductive system. So the male reproductive system has also two major functions: the sperm production and delivery to the female reproductive system. Now, the male reproductive parts are, we have the testes here, scrotum that holds the testes. We have the urethra, the penis, the prostate gland, pubic bone, vas deferens, urinary bladder, seminal vesicle, rectum, bulbourethral gland, epididymis. This is the epididymis now, or epididymis. It's how you pronounce it, English or American. So, now, what will happen is the sperms will be produced from the testes or testes. Now, it will move to the epididymis or epididymis. Here, they will mature. After maturation, they will move along the vas deferens, entering what? Passing by the prostate glands. The prostate gland will produce a secretion to mix with the sperms. Also, the bulbourethral glands will produce a secretion. Then, the mixture of secretions and the sperms will form the semen, will move along the urethra of the penis, then outside. Now, testosterone has two main functions. Estrogen in females, testosterone in males, developing of male sexual characteristics, producing sperms, and we're done for today's session. So, testosterone has two main functions, developing male sexual characteristic, producing sperms. Now, I hope you enjoyed the class today. We will discuss in the live sessions more. If you have questions, enjoy your day. Goodbye.